My name is Zoe, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a great transition or accent move that I call a hip circle turn. It's a lot of fun to use in your dance. I use it all the time. So let's get started. So this move is kind of a combination of two moves that I recently posted videos for, which are the cross turn and the big hip circle. So if you haven't seen those videos, it will definitely help you a lot to go back and check them out. I will link them. But if you want to just get right into it, I will briefly review those moves. So for the first one, the big hip circle, this is where we have our legs wide and we're doing a horizontal hip circle. We are sliding our hips to the side, to the front, to the other side, pulling our abs in to come back, and then smoothing that out gets us the big hip circle. Again, you can check out the video on the big hip circles if you'd like to practice these in more detail, but that's just a quick reminder of what that move is. And the second move I'm going to review is the cross turn. So just a quick review. That is a turn that we do by crossing one leg in front of the other one, switching our weight onto that leg as we turn, and coming around. Cross and turn. And again, feel free to check out the video on cross turns if you'd like more practice with those. We're going to move on to combining these two movements to get the hip circle turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to start just like in the cross turn by crossing one foot in front of the other foot. We are going to continue turning ourselves around 3/4 of the way until we're facing the profile. And from there is where we're going to put in this big hip circle. So we're going to slide our hips out to the side, and then we're going to come immediately to the back. So we're going to skip the front part of the hip circle. We're just going to go side, back, and now I'm going to come around to the other side, but as I do that, I'm completing my cross turn, so I'm winding up facing the front. So again, crossing, starting that cross turn and then turning it into pushing the hip out, hips to the back. I start to turn myself towards the front as my hips continue the circle. So my hips are just doing side, back, other side. But on that side, back, I'm already starting to turn myself. My feet are turning me around to face front. My hips come out to the side, and then you can just come up. So let's try that again one more time. Cross and turn, slide, back, and slide. And then you can just raise your upper body to come back to your starting position, and we can try it on the other side. So crossing, turning 3/4 of the way to the profile, sliding the hips out towards the audience, so on the side, but since you're facing the profile, your side is the audience. Pushing the hips around to the back, again, tuck the abs in here, so you want to have a long spine. You don't want to be releasing your pelvis, and turning yourself around to the front as your hips continue that circle. So over here, my hips are pushed out to the side. They're not neutral. Here, they're to the side, and then they're going to come to neutral as I come up. Once more on this side. Cross, turn, push, back, and up. Let's try that again, both sides, and then I'm going to show you a variation. So cross, turn, push, around, and up. Other side, cross and turn, push, around, and up. So that is a simple version where we just end by coming, we'd be crossed here, up. But another really fun way to come out of the turn that I like to do is to continue the hip circle. So that's going to look like here, crossing, it starts the same, coming around, and then continuing the hip circle as I turn to face the front. So on the other side, cross, turn, push the hips out to the back, and then I'm going to bring my body up, my upper body, but I'm going to continue the horizontal hip circle. So the circle is going to get a bit smaller, but it's still horizontal. Again, each side, we'll do it again. Cross, turn, push back and around and complete the circle. Cross, pushing and back, around and complete the circle. So that second version I like to do a lot, especially in Bellydance songs, especially at the Taksim part of the Bellydance progression. It's a great transition. The first variation, I'm going to show you arms that go with both of them. And the first variation where we just come straight up, to me, it feels a bit more kind of like Oriental fantasy type style. So I'll do some arms that match that. And then for the second version, where we continue the hip circle, I'll give you some other arms that are a slightly different style, because arms play a huge role in changing the style of a move and the feeling of a move. So for this first one, some arms we can add. We're going to start by what I would call offering arms. It's like you're offering something to someone. So your arms are both right in front of your body, palms facing up. Bring the arms from the elbows forward and then drop them down. And we're doing this as we start the turn. So our hands are down by our hips. And then here on this hip circle, we're going to bring the arms out a bit and in together. And then as I come up, I'm going to do a little roll from the forearms, rolling my forearms around each other. You can also add the shoulders, and that is really going to give it that mysterious serpentine feel to it. So again, crossing, hands come down, hands are down. Now a bit out here for the hip circle, coming in, and then as I come up, rolling those arms around each other. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Other side, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Great. Feel free to go back and repeat that a bit. I'm going to go on and show you arms for the second variation, where we're continuing the hip circle, and then we'll drill both with some music. So for this second variation, let's change. On the turn, we're going to have our arms up instead of coming down. So we're going to bring the arms out and up as we turn, and then they're going to come down front as I continue. So like this. So up, down in front. Now I'm going to bring my front arm to the hip. My other arm, which is in front, I'm going to mimic the hip circle with that arm and then bring it to my head. So it's going to do a circling motion and then come up to the head. So again, so you can see that, crossing, arms up, arms come down front. And now when my arms are about here, right in front of me, this is where I'm going to start sliding my hips. Front hand comes to the hips. Back hand is going to mimic that hip circle motion. So it does its own little circle, and then it comes up to the head to complete the movement. So this is something that we see quite a lot in belly dance with the arms, is that they might be mimicking the movements of the hips to accentuate them more. We also have a lot of, you could just have framing movements with the arms, that's also common, but mimicking, like in this case, really gets home the point of the movement. So in this case, it's that circular motion. You can almost think of like stirring a pot and then just bringing the hand to the head. So one more time. Up, coming down front, I push my hips out, circle the back arm, all the while circling the hips. Yes, it is a lot to think about, but once you get the hang of it, the movements should connect pretty easily. Let's try that on the other side. So, hands up as I turn, pushing my hip forward, circling the back hand around to come up. One more time each side. Cross, hands up, push, circle, continue to circle, slowly bringing the back hand to the head. And cross, other side, push, circle, and bringing the hand to the head. So yeah, you can kind of circle however long it takes. It's usually, I think it usually takes me about 1.5. So we are going to drill that with some music. We are going to do it 4 times each type. So the first variation, to remind you, this one, and then coming up here, coming up, we'll do that. So 2 times each side, 4 times. And then we're just going to walk forwards a bit because the move takes us back before doing the second variation here. And crossing and finishing. Yes? So 4 times snaky, mysterious way, coming straight up. 4 times, and then walk forwards. 4 times Bellydance way, continuing the circle, hand coming to the head. Okay, let's put on some music and have some fun. So that was the hip circle turn. Again, it's a really fun move to use as a transition, changing sides, very dramatic, great for slow music, takseems, either, for example, in a bellady or just a normal takseem or some of that kind of mysterious Oriental fantasy movement. Those are great places to use it. You can even do a quicker version, kind of there in faster music, maybe a little more dramatic. There's a lot of things you can do with that movement. I personally love it and use it all the time, so I hope you guys will use it too. I really hope that you enjoyed this movement. If you did like this video, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and happy practicing.